Okay, yes. The next slide.
Okay, next slide. For recording purposes, welcome for those joining and listening to the recorded version. Welcome to this study plan webinar. With me today is Diana Kakenbeke. Diana, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm the Academic and Student Affairs Coordinator. I'll be working closely with all of you on your registration.
My name is Chantal. I'm Center Director, and I just all at the end of February. And we have another colleague in the office, Annabelle Goulet, who's the Student Affairs and Administrative Coordinator. And some of you will already have been in touch with her, or rather her placement for now, because Annabelle will tomorrow. What we're going to cover today is the pre-registration process. Those who have been looking already at materials, but it's very different to what you used to back home. So that's why we put together this webinar, and we hope that it will be helpful for you. Let's go to the next slide, please. First of all, through the IS Amsterdam program, you'll be taking courses at the University of Amsterdam. It's over 25,000 students, both graduate and undergraduate. So it's good to know where you are within the University of Amsterdam. That's both teaching as well as a research university. It has 7 faculties: social and behavioral sciences, humanities, economics, business, law, science, medicine, and dentistry. Home in a little bit more on the faculties, you'll be placed within the social and behavioral sciences faculty, to be precise, in the College of Social Sciences. And if we narrow that down, you'll be part of the undergraduate certificate program, and that's the program that's specifically designed for international students. And through this program, you'll be able to take courses at the University of Amsterdam. If we go to the next slide, please. And if we look at who is else on the undergraduate certificate program alongside the IES students, it's exchange students from all over the world, including Europe, Australia, New Zealand, a few North Americans as well, Asia, and alongside the IES program there's also the CIE program that also caters for American students. Even though the UCP is the international component, rest assured that most of the courses will be taken by Dutch students also, so you do have that intercultural experience. But you should bear in mind that a lot of Dutch students do not necessarily have to take classes taught in English. It's only part of the courses that are offered at the University of Amsterdam that is offered in English. There's still, a large part of the curriculum is taught in Dutch. But hopefully most of you will study with Dutch students, but that depends a little bit on the department and the course. But we can advise on that as well. Next slide, please. Via the UCP, there's some over 50 courses open to you. Not all courses are within the social sciences remit, but most of them are. But in addition, you can also take some courses that are offered by the humanities faculties, as well as the economics and business faculty. But for the latter, I do recommend that you have a strong major in this field, because these courses are based on past experiences from IS students, quite heavy duty. So if you opt for this course, you have to prepare to work quite hard in order to complete this course successfully. In addition to the UVA courses, we do offer some IES courses. These are relatively small classes, and they also have a strong field trip component, so that the city of Amsterdam truly becomes your laboratoire, and that you can really make connections, for example, with art history by going to museums and relate that to what you do in the classroom. So there's a lot of interaction there. Alongside the Study Amsterdam program, we also have the pre-law program that consists of a dedicated pre-law seminar. IS also offers a public international law class, and then there are some other courses available at the University of Amsterdam. And we're also very pleased to announce that we have some course opportunities at the Vrije Universiteit. That's another university in Amsterdam. In particular, I would like to highlight the course Crime and Justice in the Netherlands, which I think should be of great interest to pre-law students. It relates a lot to legal matters and in a particular relation to the Netherlands. Next slide, please. There's a list of the IES courses that we offer. I won't, go into detail of all of those, but you can find the syllabi on the IES Abroad website, and that should give you, enough insight into what these courses offer. Again, it has, a good field study component. Most of the courses also have a research component, so it's a good way of honing in on a variety of skills whilst you're here. And then, as we said before, the pre-law program consists of a dedicated seminar on law and legal practice. We also offer public international law, and for both programs, Study Amsterdam and pre-law program, you can take the Dutch language class as well. That's a course that takes part for half of the semester. And I do recommend, that students take this course, even though, in the Netherlands you can get by with speaking English most of the time. It's a nice way to, engage on that cultural level with your new sort of country fellow men, as it were. So I do recommend taking that course. And I know some students will have to take that course. So we can go to the next slide, please. And that's where I hand you over to Diana.
Yes, I'd like to go into the whole pre-registration process a little further. I'm going to explain this whole system to you, and I'll go into the credit system that we use in the Netherlands and in Amsterdam, and the way the semester is built up. We'll go over the core list and the course descriptions. You should have all received an email with this course list. Some courses have some entry requirements. I'll go further into how you can submit your study plan. And just as a reminder, the study plan is open from yesterday on until the 4th of December. So I need all of your study plans before the end of the day, the 4th of December. Next, please. So in Europe and at the University of Amsterdam, as well as the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam, we work with the European credit transfer system. And what is important for you to know is that 2 European credits are the same as 1 US credit. So they too convert into 1 US credit. And your course load in Amsterdam will be a minimal of 15 US credits or 30 ECTS. And there's also a maximum course load of 17 US credits. That's for those students who are also enrolled in the Dutch language course that Chantal mentioned before. The transcript that you will receive from IES will be in US. Next, please. The spring semester at the university is divided into 2 blocks of both 8 weeks. The semester will start on Monday the 3rd of February, and the first block will last until the end of March. And then there's a second block from the 31st of March till the 30th of May. It means that courses at the university are either taught in just block 1 or block 2, and those are all worth 6 ECTS, that's 3 US credits. Others are taught over the full length of both blocks, and they are often worth 12 ECTS credits. That's just, for you to keep in mind when you're looking at the course list. When you're in Amsterdam, you'll be taking 3 courses, 2 of those full-length courses of 12 ECTS credits, and 1 6 ECTS credits. It will get you to a total of 30 ECTS. And as said, you can add the IES Dutch course to that, which is worth 2 US credits. Next, please. Okay, I'll now go into the whole study plan process. As I said, all of you should have received an email with all the information attached and the course list. So can you quickly go to the next slide so I can show, this is the list that you should have received. I'll go further into it in a second. Can you go back, Alyssa? Thank you. All of you are asked a selection of 10 courses from this list. It's important to make sure that none of these courses clash with each other. and that you have the required academic background. On that list you will see that each course has the meeting schedule listed behind it. There's a course description, and in some cases you need an academic background. That means a major in anthropology or sociology. It's all listed there, and it's important that you have a good look at all of those items. As I mentioned before, you will end up taking 3 courses or 4 courses if you take the Dutch course while you're in Amsterdam. And this can be a combination of IES courses and of university courses. But we will try to pre-register you for yet one extra course. At the University of Amsterdam there's a 2 weeks drop period at the beginning of the semester. And during these 2 weeks you can try out the courses that you are pre-registered for. And by the end of this 2 weeks period you will need to drop 1 course to get to that minimum amount of credits. And there is unfortunately no possibility to add any courses once you have arrived in Amsterdam. So this may be a little bit different from what you're used to. If we can go to the next slide. So as you can see, all the IES abroad courses, and below that you can see all the courses that are offered by the University of Amsterdam, either the College of Social Sciences or the Humanities faculty. And behind all those courses you see the schedule, the scheduled meeting and the rooms where the courses are taking place, as well as a link to the course description. And in the final column you see which courses need as a required background. Yes, Lisa? You can also visit the university website where you can find all the course descriptions via the link that's provided on this slide. But please stick to the course list. Those are the courses that you can pre-register for. Yeah. Now this is an example of what you will see when you go to your IES Abroad account and when you submit your study plan. First of all, you'll be asked to fill out if you want to take the Dutch language course. Some of your home schools will require you to take the Dutch class. Please check with your advisor whether this is the case for you, and fill out if you want to take this course either as an elective, a requirement, or if you don't want to enroll in this course. Next, please. Then secondly, you'll be asked to select your the courses of your 1st to 10th choice. Some of you might be required to take a certain course for your majors. If that is the case, we do need a letter or an email from your academic advisor that proves this. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee that we will be able to enroll you in a specific course, but we will obviously do our utmost best, and a letter or email will certainly help in this process. So you're asked first to select the 12 credit courses and afterwards the 6 credit courses. As I said, those are on the next, well, they're not on the next slide, they'll follow after this one. So this is the drop-down menu that you will get by which you can select all of those courses. This is just an example, so it will be a little bit different from the one that you will see when you pre-register for your courses. Next, please. As I said, finally you'll be asked to select your 6 credit courses. If there's any comments, feel free to leave them in the box at the end. I will get those and we'll look at them for sure. Next slide, please. So you have to register for your classes or pre-register by the 4th of December. And what happens next is that I, together with some our colleagues at the University of Amsterdam, will start with the allocation of classes. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. Of course, we'll try to work with your top choices, However, this is not always possible because some of the courses may have limited places. There may be a clash of timetables after all. Sometimes courses have a last minute change in schedule. And some of you may not have noticed the requirements that were needed, and you may not have the right major to take a certain course. In some cases, I will have to contact you to ask for an alternative course option. So please, be on the lookout for an email from me. But that's only in rare cases. Then between 10 to 7 days before your departure to Amsterdam, so that's, sort of in the mid of January, you'll get an email with the courses that you are pre-registered for. So it should be 4 courses, and for some of you also the Dutch course. You can view your courses in your My IES Abroad account. Then, once you have arrived in Amsterdam and the semester started, you have 2 weeks in which you can try out all of these 4 courses. And by the end of that period, you will need to drop 1 course. So it gives you the option to go and sit in all of the courses, see which one you prefer. Some might be a little bit different from what you expected based on the course description. So you have a little bit of flexibility there. And in the end, you obviously need to get to the correct number of credits. So once more, be reminded that you can only drop a course at this stage and you cannot add any courses. Next, please. This is a lot of information. We realize it. So here are a few highlights on what you need to remember. If you are required to take a course at the University of Amsterdam, we need to have proof from your academic advisor. So email that or send in a letter. Some courses require a background knowledge. Please make sure that you fulfill these requirements. And also have a close look at the meeting schedule for each course, that they don't take place on the same day and time. I've included the link to the most updated roster, and there are also some instructions on how to work with that roster. Next slide, please. Chantal's going to take over again.
A little bit on the Dutch language, and as I mentioned before, I cannot recommend that course or taking Dutch language enough, because again, I think it's a valuable aspect of your time here in the Netherlands. There are 2 options for you. You can either take the IES Dutch Language and Culture class. It's a course for absolute beginners. It will focus on some basic Dutch language and grammar and vocabulary, and really to help you along in the daily Dutch life. It also will focus on some cultural aspects, and it will have some field study associated with it as well. The other course option in the Dutch language that is available for you is a course through the University of Amsterdam. It's by the Institute of Dutch as a Second Language. And they have a variety of courses. I know some of you have already had some Dutch language background, which is kind of unusual, but it's possible, perhaps if you have some Dutch heritage. Then you can take a higher level course. It's also possible to take an absolute beginner's course if you really want to sort of further yourself in the Dutch language. Because if you take an absolute beginner's class, then you can also proceed with the second part of the semester in a beginner's class. So there's a sequence to the Dutch language. So if you're really after a intensive Dutch language class, then the INTT can provide that for you. And again, as Diana pointed out, we know that some schools require you to take the Dutch language, or rather they require you to take the language of the home country in case you're taking classes in English, which is obviously the case at the IES Amsterdam program. So make sure that you do inquire about that so we can help you fulfill that requirement. Next slide, please. I imagine that some of you have perhaps already been receiving some communication from the University of Amsterdam. We really try to keep that communication to a minimum, because sometimes these messages can, can be rather confusing, because sometimes they may even be in Dutch, and you're like, what's happening here? But sometimes it's unavoidable that you get a message, and we've listed them here in this in this slide. So you will have received. No, you will receive this. I imagine towards the end of November, Diana. End of November, early December, you will receive an email to activate your UVA Net ID, and that will be your account at the University of Amsterdam, so that you can access the University of Amsterdam email, Blackboard, etc. You need to follow the instructions outlined in that email, and set your password. If you don't do it, if you don't activate that account within 3 days, you have to do it again once you're here in the Netherlands. So best to sort of be on the lookout for that message, either in your spam box or in your regular mail. Another important email that Melissa, yes, email that you'll receive regards the residency permit. Obviously, Evelyn is already being very strict and making sure that the photographs that you've sent in comply with the Dutch rules and regulations, but sometimes the Dutch are even more strict than we would like them to be. So the University of Amsterdam will send you a message confirming whether your photograph has been approved or not, and what next steps to do. But hopefully, in most cases, it will just be a straightforward approval, because we have done that pre-approval process. Next slide. The first email you'll be getting is an invitation for a getting started appointment at the University of Amsterdam. They have this meeting for you to collect your University of Amsterdam ID card, which is obviously handy to have, and also get your proof of enrollment. You will then need to enter a time for you to go to this meeting. And I do please ask you not to select the Thursday, 30th of January or Friday the 31st of January, as we will have a full day of orientation. So there won't be any time to have a getting started appointment then. But you are able to get it for the Monday or the following Tuesday. Or if you have arrived early, you could even do that on a Wednesday. But obviously you don't know your way around just yet, so I do recommend Monday the 3rd of February or Tuesday the 4th of February. The last email that you'll get that you need to take action on is that you need to upload a passport-sized photograph for the University of Amsterdam's ID card. This can be, a regular passport-sized photograph that perhaps you've taken yourself, or you can scan in the ones that you've used for your residency permit. But here there's a little bit more flexibility than the one with the residency permit. The instructions are quite straightforward, so please follow that through as well. And if you do that, you'll be able to collect your card at the beginning of February. And that's handy to have all of that information at that time. And then there is a list of emails that you can ignore, and that are emails coming from the student information system. This can be a message that you are registered for a certain course. Please ignore those messages. It's an internal system, and unfortunately we can't deactivate it. But any message from this SIS, you can just ignore. And be mindful that you'll receive the final list of pre-registration a week or so before your departure. That's the list that you should adhere to in terms of courses that you've been registered for. Next slide, please. A little bit of orange to brighten up, it's already dark in the Netherlands, so this really brightens up our day. We're looking forward again to the spring semester. It will start out a little bit wintry, perhaps a little bit of snow, but we don't get too much of it. But as the semester progresses, the weather will improve, and you'll be able to visit the famous tulip fields in the Keukenhof, cycle the streets of Amsterdam, and hopefully also get into the excitement of the World Cup that will start in June. It's a big lead on with soccer in the Netherlands. The Dutch used to be quite good, and hopefully they can remain that way. But just to sort of show you some of the slides, alongside the academic program, we're obviously also planning a variety of field trips, and we'll be telling a little bit more about those field trips come the 17th of December, when we'll be hosting a pre-departure webinar. And then we leave the academics to one side, and then we'll really focus on things for you to get started in Amsterdam and really start thinking about, how to do certain things, or, a lot of practical questions will be addressed. So hopefully you'll be able to join that webinar as well. In the meantime, I would like to open up the floor for questions, and I think we already have a few questions coming in.
The conference has been unmuted.
There's one question that I just seen by the chat is, how common is it for students to take Dutch language? I imagine that normally about half, 40 to 50% of the students take the Dutch language class. And then I think there's another question whether it's possible to take Dutch for pass or fail. It is possible, but that is a process that you would need to start before the semester starts. You need to get approval from IS as well as from your home school to take this course, either pass or fail. So whilst it is possible, there is some administrative work associated with that.
And if I may add, unfortunately, it's not possible to just audit the course. So you have to take it for credits.
With any language course, there's quite a bit of of vocabulary and preparation for classes, and if you do it for credit, I think that always gives sort of the right motivation. Any other questions?
Yes, I'm sending it over to you now from Madison Snyder. Whoops. Yeah, how far away?
University de GRA. The GRA is the Gerrit Rietveld Academy. And the Gerrit Rietveld Academy is where we also have the IES course Studio Rietveld. The University of Amsterdam is not like a US campus. It's scattered around the city. But if you look at the map of the city of Amsterdam, it's very much in the city center of Amsterdam. The Rietveld Academy is in the south side of the city, and it will be about 25 to 30 minutes by public transportation and about 20 to 25 minutes cycling. In the beginning it will take a little bit longer, but once you get if you do decide to cycle, you find that it's a very quick way of transportation, and it's not that far. And it's once a week that you would go there.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you. Fantastic. Oh, sorry. There's a hand raised.
I can't see that.
Fiona? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Why don't you go ahead and ask your question? We can hear you.
I was wondering if there is any way we could review about, like, how classes are. In addition, I just got on the conference call because I just finished a class. So I was wondering, because I haven't heard most of the webinar, is there a way I could follow up on it later?
Absolutely.
Fiona, it's a good question. The webinar is actually being recorded. So if you have time later today, you can, I'm sure Alyssa will be sending out a message that you can then follow the link and listen to the webinar again. Because in that webinar, a few slides, sort of right in the middle of the presentation, Diana talks about the course schedule, and it also refers to some of the buildings, and then on this as well, the locations. Yeah, so the locations of all of the classes are listed there also.
As well as the course descriptions.
Are there any reviews about the classes still, like from peer reviews?
Peer reviews? No, but what you could do is IS also has some IS ambassadors, it's past students. They normally are also roaming around on the IS Amsterdam Facebook site. You can get there through the IS Abroad Facebook, and you could ask some questions to them as well.
Great. Thank you very much.
There's not such a thing as a website where students can...
or rate your professor on.
Yeah, we don't have that in the Netherlands.
Okay. Thank you.
Rate my professor.
I see that there are a few other questions that came in. One is, are there classes every day on the week, or do we have Mondays or Fridays off? In theory, there are classes on every day, but most of you really won't have a class every day of the week. It's a little bit up to you to decide which classes you want to register for. In general, we can say that classes here don't meet as much as what you might be used to at your home university. Most classes either meet once or twice a week. The length will be a little bit longer, sometimes even up to 3 or 4 hours. But these classes are divided. You might first have a lecture of 2 hours, have a break, and then afterwards you will split up into working groups or tutorials. I hope that answers that question.
You mean like the waiting room picture?
And then there's one other question about the general proximity of the housing to where classes are being held at the University of Amsterdam. University of Amsterdam. As Chantal already explained, there's not really a campus here. The buildings are spread out over the city center, but they're all within a distance of, I'd say, 10 to 20 minutes by your bike. The spring semester is a good semester for cycling. The weather will get nicer and it will be wonderful to cycle around Amsterdam. But you can also take public transportation to all of your buildings, and
to some you can even walk.
Yeah.
The housing is also in the city center, so you're quite centrally located.
Any other questions?
More questions? Oh, wait, you're there. Madison?
Damn it, Madison.
Madison, can you hear me?
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
Okay, sorry. I was just wondering, how does it work for people to get bikes? Like, do a lot of students rent bikes when they're there, or is there bikes that come to our housing, or how does that work?
It's a good question, Madison. We do orientation. We always invite somebody from a company called Rent a Bike, and they explain how they work with the bicycles. But in addition, and what deal they have, and what kind of service you can expect. And in addition, we also point you to some other places where you can get a bike. I think it's a very good deal that this company offers. And during the pre-departure webinar in December, we'll spend some more time on that one as well. But we'll give you ample information on that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Totally heard you. You can hear it. You can hear it. Yeah, you can tell.
Are there more questions about the academic process, the pre-registration process? We're happy to answer other questions as well, but yeah, you may get the answers during the pre-departure webinar on the 17th of December.
You'll be getting an invitation on that one as well. There'll be a little bit more visuals as well, and fewer text, because you do appreciate that. We do appreciate that this is a lot of information, and it's a difficult procedure. But hopefully, this webinar has helped you to guide you through this a little bit more. And if you have any questions, Diana has listed her email as well. Please feel free to contact her as well if need be.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming. If there are no more questions, we'll probably be shutting it down soon. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Again,
Thank you all, and we will look forward to seeing you at the end of January, and in the meantime, hopefully have you on the webinar in December again. You take care of. Bye.
Thank you. Please stand by.